Okay. All right, goodbye, Breeze. Nice to know you.
You really want this on video?
I'll pull it. I'm mad enough to just pull it. I'm done.
I'm done too.
I'm done.
I'm done too.
No matter what was said in this trial, you know the type of woman she was. You know who she was, and you know what you did and how he took away my favorite person in this world.
It started as just another argument between a husband and wife, but this one would end in gunfire. And the only witness was a cell phone, recording everything. Tonight, on The Dark Stories, we dive into the haunting case of Patricia and Carrie Birmingham, a marriage that disintegrated into violence, obsession, and ultimately murder.
You really want this on video?
I'll pull it. I'm mad enough to just pull it. Okay. All right, goodbye, Breeze.
A case where the victim's final act, pressing record, gave investigators a front row seat to her own death and a glimpse into the mind of her killer. Welcome to The Dark Stories. And today, we're uncovering the chilling truth behind the murder of Patricia Birmingham.
I lost both my parents that day. My dad died that day too, because the person who did that to my mom and my father aren't the same person. I don't know. That sudden passion. You have to have something. You have to have made that decision within you for a while. I feel like to do that to somebody you really, really love.
You really want this on video?
I'll pull it. I'm mad enough to just pull it. Okay. All right, goodbye, Breeze.
And how her phone spoke louder than any witness ever could. December 6th, 2021. It was supposed to be a quiet evening in a peaceful neighborhood. But at around 10:30 p.m., a terrified neighbor picked up the phone and dialed 911. They reported hearing 3 pops, followed by the unmistakable sound of a woman's screams. Then, silence. When first responders arrived, they found 51-year-old Patricia Birmingham lying motionless in her driveway, blood pooling beneath her, her body marked by the fatal blast of a shotgun. Standing just a few feet away was her husband, Carrie Birmingham. He was barefoot, wearing only a bathrobe, and reeking of alcohol. When officers approached, he didn't ask about Patricia. He didn't plead for help. Instead, he demanded, quote, "a tall glass of vodka." The officers immediately took him into custody. But what they didn't know yet was that the key to understanding what had really happened that night wasn't in the blood or the gun. It was on Patricia's phone. Inside the garage, detectives noticed something odd. A smartphone spattered with blood, lying face up near the door. When they powered it on, they realized Patricia had been recording. What they found would make even the most seasoned investigators stop in their tracks. Patricia's phone contained both audio and video evidence of her final moments, and everything that led up to them. It documented a chilling escalation, from verbal abuse to threats to murder. The recordings began earlier that night. In the audio, Patricia can be heard calmly arguing with her husband, who was drunk and belligerent. Carrie accuses her of cheating. Again, there's no evidence of this affair, but his obsession with the idea had become a fixation, a weapon he used to control her. Then, his words turn venomous. He mocks her weight, calling her names, and at one point says, "You've hopped on the fat train, haven't you?" Patricia tries to defend herself, but then comes a chilling moment. Carrie says, "Maybe I should just kill you right now." And then, Patricia replies with something that would haunt investigators later. "Go get your gun." It wasn't a dare. It wasn't sarcasm. it was exhaustion. Because that line told detectives this wasn't the first time Carrie had threatened her with a weapon. This was a pattern. And that night, it reached its breaking point. Minutes later, Patricia's phone begins to record video. The footage, later synchronized with neighborhood security cameras, captures the final, horrifying minutes of her life. We see Patricia running down the street, barefoot, in fear, her phone still recording. Carrie follows close behind, shotgun in hand. When he catches up, he says something that freezes the blood of anyone who hears it. "You really want this on video?" Patricia, trying desperately to appeal to his sanity, says, "Your neighbors are going to see you pointing your gun at me." He pauses, looks around, scanning the neighborhood, and then he checks the shotgun, disengages the safety. Then, his last words before pulling the trigger, "You're going to meet Jesus." The first blast hits Patricia directly in the right eye. The other two strike her car tires. Despite being drunk, Carrie's precision proved one thing. He knew exactly what he was doing. After the shooting, Carrie sits down beside Patricia's lifeless body. The audio keeps recording. He mutters, slurred and eerily calm, "Worth it for you." Moments later, neighbors emerge from their homes, horrified by what they've just witnessed. Police sirens fill the air. Inside, officers find the weapon, a Benelli shotgun, still warm. 3 shells are scattered near Patricia's body. Forensic tests would later confirm. Every one of them was fired from that same gun. March 2024. Nearly 3 years after the murder, Carrie Birmingham stands trial. The evidence is overwhelming. The audio, the video, the threats, the motive. Everything points to premeditation. But the defense had a different plan. They argued that Carrie, drunk, jealous, and enraged, acted not with intent, but in the heat of sudden passion. That this was not a calculated act, but a tragic emotional breakdown. His lawyers portrayed him as a man pushed past his limits, blinded by alcohol and heartbreak, and somehow that narrative worked. The jury, composed entirely of women, deliberated for hours. In the end, they agreed with the defense. They ruled the killing as a crime of passion, not premeditated murder. The sentence, 10 years in prison, a $5,000 fine, and the possibility of parole after 5 years for taking a woman's life in cold blood, on camera. After the verdict, the couple's daughter, Olivia Birmingham, spoke to reporters. Her words cut through the courtroom noise with raw grief and clarity. "I lost both my parents that day," she said. "My dad died that day too, because the person who did that to my mum and my father aren't the same person." But Olivia didn't stop there. She rejected the idea of sudden passion. To her, her father had made his choice long before that night. "You have to have made that decision within you for a while," she said, "to do that to somebody you love." Patricia Birmingham's final act, pressing record, gave her a voice even after death. Her phone captured not only her murder, but the truth of abuse, of manipulation, and of control that often hides behind closed doors. In the end, her courage to document it all became her legacy, a digital witness that spoke louder than anyone in court. And yet, justice, even with all that evidence, still fell short. 10 years. 10 years for a life taken on camera. 10 years for a woman who saw her own death coming and tried to leave behind proof. If Patricia's story reminds us of anything, it's that behind every argument, every threat, and every bruise, there can be a tragedy waiting to unfold. If you or someone you know is in an abusive relationship, please reach out for help. Your story doesn't have to end like Patricia's. This is The Dark Stories. Thank you for watching and for keeping her memory alive. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more real stories that deserve to be heard. Until next time, stay safe, stay aware, and remember, sometimes the truth is darker than fiction.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're looking at a really specific set of sources, focusing on a murder case from Harris County in 2021. And the absolute core of this deep dive is this incredibly chilling piece of evidence, a 30-minute cell phone recording.
That's right. Made by Patricia Birmingham herself, capturing the moments right before her husband, Carrie Birmingham, murdered her. He was 60 at the time.
So our mission here is to unpack what that recording reveals. We're talking about the pattern of abuse, the escalation.
And crucially, how Carrie's actions seem to show calculated intent. That becomes really important because it clashes head-on with his claim to police later that he was, completely out of it, heavily intoxicated.
Okay, so let's dig into that recording, the early parts. They paint a pretty brutal picture of their dynamic, don't they?
Oh, absolutely. It's intense. Very insulting on both sides, actually. You hear Patricia making comments, calling him an alcoholic. There's that line about a fat train.
Right. And he's giving it back just as hard, attacking her family, her weight. It sounds incredibly toxic.
It really does. And the sources make it clear this wasn't new. There's a moment on the tape, and it's quite something, where Patricia says, almost wearily, "Go get your gun."
Wow. Just like that.
Just like that. And that line, caught on tape, it points straight to a history. Investigators later confirmed it, friends. She'd pulled a gun on her several times before. This wasn't a one-off threat. It was apparently part of their pattern.
A known tool of intimidation, then.
Exactly. Which makes the escalation captured next even more chilling. The transcript marks it around 9:58 a.m. The argument shifts.
And Carrie says it, doesn't he? The direct threat.
He does. The line is, maybe I should just kill you right now.
Chilling. And Patricia's response. It's tragic, really.
It is. She almost dares him. Kill me. Maybe you should do what that's sitting right here. It suggests she'd heard threats like this before, maybe downplayed the danger this time.
She tries to leave after that, steps outside.
Yeah, she tries to disengage, goes outside, but keeps the phone recording. And then Carrie follows her down the street in his bathrobe.
In his bathrobe? That seems performative,
right.
Almost designed to humiliate.
That's certainly how it reads. It suggests an intent beyond just, drunken anger. It's about control, even publicly.
Which brings us to this central conflict. His claim of being too drunk to know what he was doing versus what the recording actually shows. He was apparently demanding another drink from the police later.
Right. But the recording tells a different story. Patricia, clearly seeing he has the gun now, she tries to use the situation, the potential witnesses. She says, "Your neighbors are going to see you pointing your gun at me."
She's trying to de-escalate using social pressure.
Seems like it. And here's the key part. The recording captures Carrie looking over in the direction she mentioned. The source material calls him fully aware of the situation. He registered the comment about neighbors.
Okay, so he's aware. What about the weapon itself?
This is critical. The sources detail him manipulating the shotgun, a Benelli. Specifically, checking the safety mechanism. The analysis concluded it was to make sure it's in a position to where it could be fired.
That doesn't sound like someone fumbling around drunk. That sounds purposeful.
Extremely purposeful.
Yeah.
Calculated, functional intent. And then the violence itself is described with terrifying precision.
He shoots her.
Instantly.
Yeah.
In the right eye. Kills her immediately. But it doesn't stop there.
The tires, right.
Yes. Right after shooting Patricia, he makes what's described as perfect aim, first at the front tire of her car, then the back tire. Shoots them both out.
Again, that immediate controlled action. It just doesn't square with the idea of an uncontrolled drunken rage or accidental outburst.
Not at all. And this evidence, largely for that recording, led to him being charged with murder.
Which makes the legal outcome so, surprising, perhaps.
Definitely surprising to many. Despite all this evidence of awareness and precise action, an all-woman jury accepted the crime of passion defense.
And for our listeners, a crime of passion generally requires acting under sudden, intense emotion with no time for reflection, right?
Exactly. Mm-hmm. It implies an immediate, overwhelming reaction, which seems difficult to reconcile with looking for witnesses, checking a gun's safety, and then methodically shooting out tires after the fatal shot.
And the sentence reflects that defense being accepted.
It does. He received just 10 years in prison. And he's potentially eligible for parole after only 5 years.
5 years. Their daughter, Olivia, she had a powerful take on this, didn't she?
She really did. She pointed out the deep contradiction. Her quote was something like, "For that sudden passion claim to hold, you have to have made that decision within you for a while." She saw the history, the premeditation in that final recording.
It really highlights the gap between the recorded actions and the legal finding.
A huge gap.
So it leaves us with a pretty stark question for you, the listener, to think about. You have source material, this recording, that documents every lethal step, checking the safety, the deliberate aiming, targeting the tires, all while the defense claims severe intoxication essentially erased intent.
Right. So what does a case like this really tell us about how we distinguish between intoxication, clear functional intent demonstrated on tape, and that legal concept of sudden emotional distress or passion? Where do those lines actually fall when the action seems so undeniably calculated?
Something to definitely consider. That's all the time we have for this deep dive.